You're waking up and nothing feels wrong. Lights turn on, ATMs work, salaries hit bank accounts. The economy hums quietly in the background like it always does. But what if I told you all of this stability depends on something invisible? A giant money switch nobody voted for, most people don't understand, and almost nobody even realizes exists. And if that switch ever flicks off, the world doesn't explode dramatically, it simply stops working. That sounds dramatic. It isn't. It's just the part of the system we never bother to look at. Right now, we like to think economies crash because of big, loud events. Markets fall, banks fail, politicians screw up, a crisis hits the news. But modern money doesn't break loudly anymore. It breaks quietly. It breaks in the wiring between banks, governments, and companies. It breaks in the system that moves money, not the money itself. And that's what this money switch really is. Let's slow down for a second. When you get paid, you don't receive cash. When companies pay suppliers, they don't dump briefcases of money on desks. When governments fund programs, no truck delivers dollar bills. It's all digital, just numbers moving between institutions at insane speed. Behind those numbers sits a network that decides who can send money, how fast, in what amount, and under what conditions. Central banks, interbank payment rails, short-term lending markets, systems that sound boring enough to ignore until they're not boring anymore. Think of it like this. If the economy is a body, wages are the food, spending is movement, investing is exercise. But the blood? That's liquidity. Liquidity is just a fancy word for money that can move right now. And the switch is the structure that keeps that liquidity flowing. Banks lend to each other overnight so payments clear. Governments borrow and roll debt constantly. Companies refinance short-term obligations again and again, like breathing. All of this assumes one thing: the system will always be on. History says otherwise. There have been moments when this switch has trembled, moments when everyone still technically had money, but the ability to move it froze. 2008, March 2020, certain days when funding markets literally seized for hours. And here's the part nobody likes to think about. The entire modern economy is built on confidence that money always flows, not eventually, not when it clears, now. Because if a bank hesitates to lend to another bank for even 24 hours, payments slow. If payments slow, businesses delay. If businesses delay, trust cracks. And once trust cracks, panic doesn't walk, it sprints. The uncomfortable math behind this is simple. There is always more money promised than money physically sitting ready. That's not a flaw, that's how everything runs. Banks rely on short-term markets. Governments roll trillions constantly instead of paying it off. Corporations refinance debt endlessly instead of clearing it. The system only works if the switch stays green. But here's the twist. We've built a global economy that got extremely good at efficiency and terrible at pauses. Everything is optimized, minimal buffers, minimal slack. Money is expected to behave like Wi-Fi, always on, always fast. Ironically, while technology made money movement smoother, it also made panic faster. You don't need lines outside banks anymore. You just need a screen and fear. So why does this matter right now? Because we're walking into a world with more debt, tighter financial conditions, faster information, and more interconnected markets than any generation before. Central banks are constantly adjusting, governments are constantly rolling, private markets are constantly stretching, and that silent switch in the background is carrying more weight than ever. If liquidity cracks, nothing immediately looks destroyed. Shops still stand, offices still glow, people still breathe. But inside the pipes, stress spreads. Funding dries, assets get dumped to raise cash. Safe things suddenly wobble, and everyday life feels different before anyone can clearly explain why. That's the part that's both fascinating and terrifying. The modern economy isn't held together by brute force, it's held together by constant motion. So here's the question we rarely ask. Have we built a system so dependent on uninterrupted money movement that it can't handle even a brief stop? And if the quiet money switch ever truly flips off, would the biggest risk be collapse? Or the slow, unsettling realization that our entire sense of stability was just the illusion of something always flowing, until one day, it didn't.